But in the beginning in January of '83, now what's the reaction of the rest of the boys to Vince Jr. now officially being in charge? He's certainly been around, but now he's the boss.
No reaction, no change. The old man's gone. I guess I probably just come back from my break to Hawaii, and then been involved with Pedro and whoever was Hulk there at the time.
No, Hulk was
Hulk's not in yet.
December of '83, so we
Okay.
start the year without Hulk. But is Vince Sr. still around? Is he still a presence, even though he's not in charge?
Yeah, he's always been. I suppose we'd be doing the TV in Allentown and Hamburg still.
Hamburg and Allentown, right?
Yeah, it was okay. So Vince Senior's still around, and Vince Senior's seems like the head, but Vince Junior is working behind the scenes, putting everything together.
Right. Now the other power plays that were involved with WWE at the time, Phil Zacco, Gorilla Monsoon. These guys ostensibly were bought out of the picture. What was there any kind of negative reaction on their part to relinquishing control to Vince?
I wasn't really a part of that. That for those guys, to be a part was like Lou Albano, Tony Altamore, Cicluna,
Right.
Johnny Rods, the guys that had been here, SD, the basic core of the people, the guys that had been involved. I guess, long time previous to my arrival. So they were more. Of course, we were more dealing with Monsoon because he was more hands-on than everybody else. And Arnold Skolin was around, of course.
Right.
He was still an agent for the company, and he still had a couple of his towns, White Plains and Poughkeepsie, I guess, and some of the other places up, right around the New York City area. So. We had the spot shows going still in Jersey and Connecticut and Boston, the Massachusetts areas and stuff. But you could kind of feel it. There was a movement taking place.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. So did the guys realize that this was pretty soon going to break out?
No, I don't think so. I don't think people talk about the business and everything, and see all those times up to my time and before me, when the Superstar Graham and Backlund and back to Bruno, back to Antonio Rocca, all the way back, the whole WWF and WWWF, that whole area, we were still experiencing capacity houses.
Right.
Everywhere we went. I mean, it wasn't Hartford's 20,000. This Civic Center in Pittsburgh sold out. Philadelphia Spectrum's in 19.5. Garden selling out. You're every one of your towns, and you're doing major business. And our TV was strong in our area, where we were covering. So, as far as we knew, as far as we experienced, everything was going great guns anyway. Everybody was hot. Jimmy Snuka was hot. I was hot. I think Ray Stevens was still around or just getting ready to leave. Fuji and Saito were the tag team champions probably at that time. And Tito and Martel and George Steele. It was kind of a transitional crew into from guys that had been there before the 80s or early 80s, and then the new guys that were going to start to come in. So I don't think we had there was a feeling or a sense that was going on, but not a big sense, because our business was still, like I say, the whole time I was here from the beginning, we were selling out everywhere.
Right.
It was never, a down period or never any recession as far as attendance at the gate was concerned. We weren't involved with the big TVs, the big cable networks and the pay-per-views and everything else that was going on, but as what was in front of us, what was sitting in front of us was a full house every night. So everybody was making their money.
But you do get onto national TV with cable, with USA Network and all that stuff. So as he's now starting to he being Vince, to pluck talent. He would soon start to pluck talent from other territories, but more than that, try to get TV on in the regional territory.
Right.
Did some of the old timers see that as a danger, encroaching on a promoter's? Because it was all boundaries and handshake agreements, and now by him encroaching on other territories, was that did you see that as a risk?
In regards to?
Well, in regards to maybe if you're part of the company that's trying to steal TV from
Columbus. The war started in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
It was like it started in Columbus, Ohio, because Ole Anderson and those guys came out of TBS, and they ran. And Columbus is only 120 miles from Pittsburgh,
Right.
So they pretty much considered it their jurisdiction, And I remember even Vince Senior coming up to me and mentioning to me one time, all those guys from down there. So we decided we were going to start running Columbus. So that was kind of like I said, there wasn't a big feeling among everybody was just taking care of business at hand, pretty much. There were a whole bunch of suits came in there, but you could see, there was a change, and people were coming. Nobody knew exactly what direction it was going to go, but was John Studd in there?
Yeah, Studd was probably there. But as you get sent to work St. Louis now, for example, at the Kiel or something, and now that's a direct encroachment on their territory. Is there any fear like, I'm part of this company that's doing this now? If it doesn't work out up here, Geigel's never going to take me here because of we're coming in to steal the territory.
I don't think so.
Not on your part.
Not on my part.
Okay.
Guys that are on the top, I don't think. We were working. I remember we went to Detroit in Cobo Hall. And Snuka and I had experienced nothing but capacity houses. We did about 2,000 people. So and that was, but it was only several months later that Joe Louis Arena and some of these other places, and then it was only a couple years later that they did the 88,000 in the Silverdome. So you can see that. I don't know I'm not sure which WrestleMania that was, right?
The Silverdome was WrestleMania 3.
So that would be
87.
87. So that's 4 years later.
Yeah.
It went from maybe we did 4,000, but 2,000 to 4,000 people with the hottest angle in the country at the time going on, and basically bombed, and and plus the card was probably loaded too. I would assume. I don't remember at the time, but there's a good chance Hulk was on the card with somebody who we happened to be with, and me and Snuka, or maybe it's just me and Snuka on top. But we still had tag champions and this and that. It was a big card, so a regular New York card. So it had gone from like 4,000 to 88,000 in a period of 3 years, 4 years.
Vince's relationship with the magazines at this time in '83. This is before he launches his own WWF magazine. Was there animosity there? Was he compliant with allowing Apter and those guys access to you guys in the garden and stuff?
No. They got 86 for a while. George Napolitan,
right?
Bill Apter, all those guys. They were pretty much in the outs for a while.
Right.
It was. I remember I'd run into I don't think the wrestlers ever had a bitch with them.
Right.
Nobody ever, but and I don't think, probably saving something down the line or hoping, that something would come back together. I don't think they ever, as a majority, I don't think, or nobody ever really came out real heavy against Vince. What he's doing this, he's that, he's just
right.
Everybody just kind of, bit their tongue and kept going, doing their own thing.
This is poignant because of an event we're going to talk about in May, I believe. But do you remember his initial arrest at this point when he was?
Yeah, we just there's a Chinese restaurant up the street. Everybody stayed. It was in those days we work upstate New York, so we'd go to Syracuse or Utica. He usually stayed there. There was a old time wrestler. I can't think of who he is. He had a place. He had a motel in Utica. And then we moved to Syracuse, but we just came rolling in with Arnold Skolin from Manali, everybody's looking at all the cops and everybody, what the hell's going on? So, but that's, nobody knew, nobody was really present, so aside from the police and, and Nancy Valentino.
How did management react to this? I mean, Snuka was hot. I mean, it was.
Yeah,
was a hot
Just
time.
watched it. It just watched as best they could.
Yeah. Incidents that tended to follow Jimmy like this,
Yeah.
is this what prevented him from ever getting a strap and really the top push?
I'm sure it had something to do with it. I wouldn't be surprised. Because there was a time when he was as hot as anybody, before Hulk came in, and even after Hulk came in. You know, he was, he could do no wrong,
Yeah.
you know.